Welcome to Farmtips Diary. Energy costs are one of farming's most unpredictable expenses, capable of doubling within months and destroying carefully planned budgets. Grid electricity that seemed affordable suddenly becomes a major drain on profitability with no warning and no control. This is the story of why utility rates keep climbing, how farms are breaking free from this volatility through renewable energy, and the financial tools that make the transition from gamble to calculated investment. The escalating grid dependency trap. Understanding why electricity costs keep rising reveals why dependence on grid power creates persistent vulnerability that only worsens over time. Utility rates increased an average of 3 to 4% annually over the past 2 decades, consistently outpacing general inflation. A farm paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour in 2005 now pays 15 to 18 cents in many regions, an 50 to 80% increase. This steady escalation compounds relentlessly, making long-term budgeting nearly impossible. Infrastructure aging drives much of this increase. The electrical grid requires constant maintenance and eventual replacement. Transmission lines, substations, and distribution equipment installed decades ago are reaching end of life. Utilities pass replacement costs to customers through rate increases. These infrastructure investments total hundreds of billions nationally, translating to steadily rising rates for decades ahead. Renewable energy mandates paradoxically increase short-term rates, even while promising long-term benefits. Utilities must invest heavily in solar farms, wind turbines, and battery storage to meet renewable portfolio standards. These capital expenditures get recovered through rate increases before the generation assets deliver savings. Customers pay for the transition before benefiting from it. Extreme weather events increase maintenance costs and cause service disruptions that utilities recover through rates. Heat waves stress generation capacity, requiring expensive peak power purchases. Winter storms damage infrastructure, requiring emergency repairs. As climate change increases weather extremes, these costs and the associated rate impacts will intensify. Regulatory changes shift costs unpredictably. Time of use rates, demand charges, and peak pricing penalties all create complexity while often increasing costs for agricultural operations. Farms that once paid simple flat rates now face sophisticated billing structures, designed to recover utility costs more precisely but often at higher total expense to large users. The fundamental problem is that farms are price takers with no negotiating power. When utilities file for rate increases with regulators, individual customers have no recourse. They must accept whatever rates are approved or cease operations. This powerlessness means farms absorb every utility cost increase directly into operating expenses. Energy price shocks during crisis periods create the most acute pain. The 2022 energy crisis saw rates double in some regions within months. California agricultural rates exceeded 25 cents per kilowatt hour. Farms with monthly electricity bills of $5,000 suddenly faced $10,000 bills with no time to adjust. Operations that were profitable became unprofitable overnight. The strategic reality is that grid dependence creates permanent vulnerability to forces completely beyond farm control. No amount of efficiency improvement can offset rate increases determined by infrastructure needs, policy decisions, and market dynamics. Breaking this dependence becomes an economic imperative, not just an environmental preference. Solar as financial infrastructure. Viewing solar power as financial infrastructure rather than environmental statement reframes the decision from ideological to economic, revealing compelling returns that justify investment on purely financial grounds. Solar electricity costs $0 per kilowatt hour after installation. While the upfront investment is substantial, the fuel cost disappears for 25 to 35 years. This eliminates exposure to fuel price volatility that drives grid rate increases. A farm generating its own power achieves energy cost certainty, impossible with utility dependence. The financial case strengthens as grid rates continue climbing. A solar installation with 8-year payback at current rates achieves 6-year payback if rates increase 20% over that period, as they likely will. The gap between fixed solar costs and rising utility rates widens continuously, accelerating effective returns throughout the system's lifespan. Federal tax credits covering 30% of installation costs dramatically improve economics. A $200,000 system costs $140,000 after credits, combined with accelerated depreciation over 5 years. Farms with tax liability can recover 50 to 60% of costs through tax benefits within 5 years. This government support transforms marginal projects into compelling investments. State incentives add another layer. Many states offer additional rebates, tax credits, or accelerated depreciation. Some mandate that utilities purchase excess generation at favorable rates. California, Massachusetts, and New York provide particularly generous incentives that can cover 40 to 50% of costs when combined with federal programs. Net metering policies allowing sale of excess generation at retail rates dramatically improve returns. A farm generating more than it uses during midday sells that power back at the same rate it would pay, effectively using the grid as free battery storage. This enables capturing value from all generation, not just what gets consumed immediately. The value proposition improves for operations with high daytime electricity use, dairy farms milking during daylight, irrigation operations pumping during sunny afternoons, and processing facilities operating day shifts all maximize solar value by consuming generation when it occurs. This alignment between production and use eliminates need for expensive battery storage. Financing options make solar accessible without large capital outlays. Solar loans, equipment financing, and specialized agricultural lending products spread costs over 10 to 20 years. Monthly loan payments often equal or fall below eliminated utility bills, creating immediate positive cash flow. After payoff, the savings become pure profit for remaining system life. Property value increases from solar installations often exceed installation costs. Farms with solar command premium prices from buyers, recognizing long-term energy cost advantages. Real estate listings increasingly highlight renewable energy infrastructure as major selling points. The asset appreciation partially or fully recovers initial investment, independent of energy savings. Real operations? Breaking free. Abstract economics matter less than concrete results from farms that made the transition. These examples span sizes, regions, and approaches, revealing consistent patterns of substantial savings and improved stability. A Washington state apple orchard with $3,000 monthly summer electricity bills for cold storage installed a 150 kilowatt system for $450,000. After federal credits and state incentives, net cost was $270,000. The system generates 210,000 kilowatt hours annually, eliminating $32,000 in electricity costs. Payback will occur in 8.4 years, with 22 more years of essentially free power. The orchard operator emphasized that predictable energy costs improved financing relationships since lenders value stable expenses. A Texas dairy producing 8 million pounds of milk annually faced electricity bills averaging $8,500 monthly. They installed 200 kilowatts of solar for $520,000, reduced to $300,000 after incentives. First-year generation exceeded projections by 12% due to abundant Texas sunshine. Monthly bills dropped to $2,000, saving $78,000 annually. Payback will take 3.9 years. The dairy now markets their milk as solar-powered to premium buyers, capturing an additional 0.50 per hundredweight, or $40,000 annually. A California vegetable farm with $12,000 monthly electricity bills for irrigation pumping installed 300 kilowatts of ground mount solar. The $720,000 system reduced to $400,000 after incentives. They generate 480,000 kilowatt hours annually, eliminating $86,000 in electricity costs and producing $28,000 in excess generation sales. Total benefit of $114,000 annually delivers 3.5-year payback. The farm operator noted that energy cost stability allowed committing to long-term vegetable contracts with retailers at fixed prices, improving business planning. A Wisconsin grain farm drying 500,000 bushels annually faced natural gas bills exceeding $60,000 yearly. They couldn't cost justify solar electricity to power existing gas dryers. Instead, they invested in electric dryers powered by 400 kilowatts of solar at $880,000 total, reduced to $500,000 after incentives. The system generates enough electricity to dry their entire crop while producing excess for farm and home use. Annual energy costs dropped from $60,000 to $8,000, saving $52,000 with 9.6-year payback. Beyond payback, they expect decades of nearly free grain drying. An Arizona farm operating in an area with time-of-use rates facing peak electricity costs of 32 cents per kilowatt-hour installed solar with battery storage. The $600,000 system reduced to $360,000 after incentives. They charge batteries with excess solar generation and use stored power during expensive evening peak periods. This strategy reduced their effective electricity rate from an average of 24 cents to 6 cents per kilowatt hour. Annual savings of $95,000 provide 3.8-year payback. The battery system also protects against outages that previously caused crop losses during irrigation failures. These examples demonstrate consistent themes. payback periods ranging from 3.5 to 10 years depending on incentives and electricity rates, annual returns of 10 to 25%, and decades of low-cost energy after payback. The farms also reported intangible benefits, including improved lender relationships, ENHANCED sustainability marketing, and reduced stress from utility bill volatility, financial planning tools and frameworks. Moving from general awareness to specific action requires analytical tools that transform solar from abstract possibility into concrete financial projections, tailored to individual operations. Start with a comprehensive electricity audit, documenting current consumption and costs. Gather 12 months of utility bills showing kilowatt-hour usage and total costs. Calculate average price per kilowatt-hour. Identify seasonal patterns and peak usage periods. This baseline determines how much generation capacity is needed and what savings are possible. Use solar calculators specific to your location estimating production. The National Renewable Energy Laboratory provides PV Watts calculator accepting address, system size, and tilt to predict annual generation. This free tool accounts for local solar irradiance, typical weather, and shading to provide realistic production estimates accurate within 10%. Obtain multiple installation quotes from qualified solar contractors. Request detailed proposals specifying equipment, brands, warranties, production guarantees, and total installed costs. Compare proposals carefully, recognizing that lowest price may use inferior components, while highest price may include unnecessary features. Target middle-range proposals from experienced agricultural installers. Calculate net costs after incentives. Apply the 30% federal investment tax credit to gross installation cost. Research state and local incentives through database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency. Contact your utility about rebates and net metering policies. Add up all available incentives to determine actual out-of-pocket cost. Project annual financial benefits. Multiply estimated generation by current electricity rate for basic savings. Add revenue from excess generation if net metering exists. Include value of renewable energy certificates if your state has markets for them. Sum these two determine total annual benefit. Conservative analysis uses current rates without assuming increases, though rates will certainly rise. Calculate simple payback by dividing net cost by annual benefit. A $200,000 net investment with $25,000 annual benefit has 8-year payback. While simple, this calculation provides quick assessment of viability. Payback under 10 years generally indicates economically sound investment, especially considering system lifespans exceeding 25 years. For sophisticated analysis, calculate net present value and internal rate of return. Spreadsheet financial functions enable modeling 25-year cash flows including installation cost, annual savings, maintenance expenses, inverter replacement at year 15, and terminal value. Assume modest electricity rate increases of 2 to 3% annually. These calculations provide more accurate long-term return projections than simple payback. Model different financing scenarios, comparing cash purchase, solar loans, and equipment financing. Cash purchase maximizes returns, but requires available capital. Loans spread costs over time at interest rates of 4 to 8% currently. Compare monthly loan payments to eliminated utility bills to determine if immediate positive cash flow is achievable. Assess system sizing options, recognizing trade-offs. Overseasing provides more surplus to sell but increases costs and may face reduced compensation for excess under some utility programs. Undersizing costs less but leaves exposure to utility rates for remaining consumption. Right-sizing matches annual generation to annual consumption, maximizing economics under most rate structures. Consider battery storage economics separately. Batteries significantly increase costs, adding 50 to 100% to total investment. They primarily benefit operations with time-of-use rates, frequent outages, or those wanting complete grid independence. Calculate whether peak rate avoidance or outage protection value justifies the additional investment. The goal is moving from vague notion that solar might make sense to concrete projection showing exactly what investment is required, what returns are expected, how long payback takes, and what uncertainties exist. These tools transform solar evaluation from guesswork into data-driven financial analysis comparable to any other farm investment. Sustainability as marketing and mission, while financial returns justify solar investment independently. Farms increasingly find that renewable energy provides marketing advantages and aligns operations with values that extend beyond pure economics. Consumer demand for sustainably produced food is growing rapidly. Surveys show 60 to 70% of consumers willing to pay premiums for products from environmentally responsible farms. Solar-powered operations can market this attribute on packaging, websites, and farm tours, differentiating products in crowded markets. Retailers and food service companies increasingly require or prefer suppliers demonstrating sustainability. Walmart, Whole Foods, and numerous restaurant chains prioritize vendors with verified environmental practices. Solar installations provide tangible, quantifiable proof of commitment that opens doors to premium channels and contracts. Carbon footprint reduction creates value in emerging markets. Some jurisdictions and private companies are establishing carbon credit systems where farms can sell certificates representing emissions reductions. Solar installations. Reducing grid electricity consumption generate verifiable carbon savings that may become monetizable assets. Farm succession benefits from renewable investments. Young farmers and family successors often value sustainability alongside profitability. Installing solar demonstrates commitment to long-term viability and environmental stewardship that appeals to next generations. This can smooth succession transitions while attracting quality successors who might otherwise pursue other careers. Community relations improve when farms demonstrate environmental responsibility. Rural communities increasingly contain residents concerned about agricultural impacts. Solar installations provide visible proof that farms are part of solution rather than problem, building goodwill that protects against opposition to expansions or operations. Employee recruitment and retention benefit from sustainability commitments. Workers, especially younger ones, increasingly want employers aligned with their values. Farms with solar can market environmental responsibility when recruiting, attracting quality employees who take pride in their workplace's mission. The strategic insight is that solar delivers multiple value streams: direct energy cost savings, protection against rate increases, marketing differentiation, access to premium channels, potential carbon credit income, succession advantages, community goodwill, and employee attraction. Evaluating only energy savings understates total value significantly. Recap. Grid electricity rates increased 50% to 80% over recent decades and will continue climbing due to aging infrastructure, renewable mandates, extreme weather, and regulatory changes. Farms have no negotiating power and must absorb every increase. Solar power locks in zero fuel costs for 25 to 35 years, creating energy cost certainty. Federal tax credits covering 30% plus state incentives can reduce net costs by 50 to 60%. Real operations demonstrate consistent patterns, payback periods of 3.5 to 10 years, annual returns of 10 to 25%, and decades of low-cost power after payback. Financial planning requires electricity audits establishing baselines, solar calculators estimating production, multiple installation quotes, incentive research determining net costs, and spreadsheet analysis calculating payback and returns. Beyond financial returns, solar provides marketing advantages, access to premium channels, succession benefits, and community goodwill that compound economic value. If this exploration of protecting farms from energy price shocks gave you practical planning tools, give this video a like and share it with anyone evaluating renewable energy. Subscribe to Farmtips Diary for more insights on building financially resilient farm operations. Hit that notification bell so you never miss strategies that could stabilize your costs and improve profitability. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.